Hey everyone, Zian over here from Nintendo Life, and today we're here to share with you our review of Devil May Cry 3 Special Edition on the Nintendo Switch. This review was originally written by PJ O'Reilly for NintendoLife.com, but was reworked into this video by me. After the absolute mess that was Devil May Cry 2, Hideki Itsuno returned to the fray in 2005 with this absolute banger, righting the wrongs of his previous effort by returning protagonist Dante to his righteously cocky self and letting loose with a no-holds-barred, non-stop action thrill ride that, to this day, is as good as the Devil May Cry series ever got. Even in the wake of the latest entry in the series on current consoles, going back and experiencing Devil May Cry 3 all over again reveals a combat system that hasn't aged a bit. Some of the puzzles may seem a bit archaic, the camera can be a pain from time to time, and those pre-rendered cutscenes have aged pretty poorly, but the heart and soul of this third entry in the series is as fresh as the day it was released. From the moment things kick off, you can sense this is a series that's earned back its style. Dante, a heavily subdued grump in the second game, is immediately back to his wisecracking, arrogant, half-naked self, and the first three missions waste absolutely no time in putting players through their paces, with a non-stop blast of intense close-quarters action against a strong mix of enemy types, and even a very early mini-boss, before you've really even had a chance to consider what's exactly going on. It calms down for just a bit, throws a puzzle or two in so you can get your bearings, but over the course of its roughly 15-hour runtime, this one is 100% all about the high-octane action, flashy combos, and big, beautiful boss battles, with a pace that never really lets up over the course of the 20 missions that you see through to its end. Set 10 years before the first installment in the series, Devil May Cry 3's story sees a young Dante, hot on the heels of his brother Virgil and the mysterious Arkham, both of whom are out to open a portal between the human and demonic worlds using Virgil's half of the brother's family heirloom. What follows is a breathless chase from the bottom to the top of a mysterious tower, several epic face-offs between the brothers, the obligatory interdimensional hijinks, and some truly excellent boss battles that will test your skills to the max. And the boss battles here really do deserve special praise. For most part properly challenging, these are the types of beautifully designed face-offs that are a delight to engage with. At first, they can be pretty overwhelming, especially on higher difficulties. They become a joy as you experiment with and observe each boss, eventually revealing some Achilles heel for Dante to take advantage of. One of the earlier big tests in the game, the Agni and Ruta fight, is a perfect example. You can bash your head off these two big lads for ages if you go about things sheepishly and in a standoff manner. Get up close and personal though, and you'll soon discover they can be put away in surprisingly short order with a couple of well-timed dodges and a sword clash that sees them lose their footing temporarily. It's the same with Nevin, Beowulf, and Cerberus, and every other big encounter in the game. The devilishly clever design always offers an easier path if you've been paying attention and have mastered your skills to that point in the proceedings. Of course, the big news with Devil May Cry 3 was its revamped combat system that allows Dante to utilize a total of 6 different combat techniques to go about dispatching his foes. From the outset, Trickster, Swordman, Gunslinger, and Royal Guard allowed you to adapt your style, and whether you wanted to concentrate on quickly dodging attacks, focus on stylish swordplay, master gun techniques, or play extra defensively, Dante could select one of these fighting styles before each mission started. In this new Switch edition, Capcom has added a brand new freestyle mode to the game, which allows you to jump between all of these various combat styles on the fly using the D-pad. It's an amazing tweak that genuinely affects the core gameplay for the better, opening up all manner of new ways in which to approach your enemies and string together an absolute ton of combos whilst flipping between styles to hit those all-important SSS rankings. If that still doesn't seem like enough, this new release also adds in the ability to play the Blood Palace challenge rooms, which unlock after you complete the opening mission. These challenge rooms play out in local co-op, with one player assuming the role of Dante while the other plays as Virgil. Both of these new additions really add to an already immensely entertaining and highly replayable original package, and ensure that Switch players are getting the ultimate version of this classic action game. Devil May Cry 3 may be 15 some years old now, which is absolutely crazy to say. The camera may be a bit wayward here and there, and there's definitely a little bit too much backtracking and bounding around the central stairwell of the tower at one point, but the most important aspect, the fast and furious combat, remains as fresh as ever. This is also the best Dante has ever been in terms of characterization. It totally nails his overly cocky attitude, and from riding around on missiles to blasting enemies to bits with his electric guitar, he's never less than a whopping, smug, loudmouth joy to behold here. Voice acting across the board from Dante and Virgil, newcomer Mary, and all the bosses you square off against is also top-notch stuff. Totally over the top and very much in keeping with the ludicrous early 2000s with its heavily Matrix-inspired cutscenes and industrial metal soundtrack. In terms of the Switch port, as might be expected of a game of this era, both docked and handheld mode run absolutely flawlessly. And the whole thing, aside from those pre-rendered cutscenes, still looks surprisingly good, especially when playing it on that smaller handheld screen. The frame rate never falters, loading times are almost instantaneously, and it only takes up 5 gigs of space, so you can keep it tucked away on your Switch indefinitely. You know, for when you feel the need to slay some demons on an airplane. Devil May Cry 3 remains one of the very best action games ever made. It has certainly aged in places, but that turbocharged, combo-heavy action feels as fresh today as it did back in 2005. The new freestyle mode, which lets players swap combat styles on the fly at any point during the action, is a genuinely excellent addition to the package. And the ability to play Bloody Palace in local co-op is the cherry on top of a Switch port that should appeal to anyone interested in sampling the devilish delights of this all-time classic. We here at Nintendo Life give Devil May Cry 3 Special Edition on the Nintendo Switch a 9 out of 10. If you'd like to read our full written review, you could find that along with more Devil May Cry 3 content over at nintendolife.com.